I'm talking about my calculator. You didn't hear me hit it? Boom!
Okay.
My voice carries.
Could you hear me? Okay.
That's why I shut the door when I got.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do. I will. Okay, so listen up, guys. Put your homework to the side. Get your Sheldon. Take your headphones off. I know they're not on. I know, but just take them off. I don't want to have to guess if they're on or not.
I'll tell you if they're on or not.
No, that's not the point. Okay, so go ahead and flip over your notes. We're going to look at a couple examples on the back. It's the same idea. The directions are just different. Okay, you're doing the same sort of math. The directions are just... Guys, I'm not going to talk up, please. So if I look on the back of the notes, so have the homework to the side for now. If I look at the back of the notes, the directions are different, but we are going to do the same thing. So if I look at the directions say, given the domain, find the range. So basically, let's talk about what we talked about yesterday. If I say, given the domain is the same thing as what? X. So basically, I'm saying, given the x values, I want to find the y values. Remember, x is the same thing as domain, y is the same thing as range. So instead of given the domain, find the range, we can think of it as given the x, find the y. So let's go ahead and look at 8. Okay? Given the domain, so I'm given x values of -1, 0, 1, and 4, I want to know the range, or the y values. So we're going to take my domain. You can make a table if you want to. You don't necessarily need to. And we are going to start plugging in my domain. Those are my x values. I plug them in for x. It is the same process, except the directions look different. So my domain are my x values. So I start taking my x values and plug them in where x is. So 3 times -1, -3 plus 1, -2. And you're just going to create a list down here. So we're going to put range, and we're going to put those brackets, because I'm listing. No, not necessarily. So we're going to start listing my answers. So if I get back a y value of -2, that is the first one on my range. And then I do the same thing when x is 0. So I take 0 and plug it in. 3 times 0? 0 plus 1. 1. So then that becomes part, that's my y value. It becomes part of the... Guys, please stop with the little talking up here. You've been doing it the whole day. Please. Thank you. Okay, the next one, let's plug in a 1. So if I plug in an x value of 1, it's going to be 3 times 1. Stop. 3 times 1 plus 1. 3 times 1 is what? 3 plus 1 is 4. That's a y value. So that becomes part of my range. And then I do the same thing when x is 4. So I take 4 and I plug it in where x is. 3 times 4? 12 plus 1? 13. So these are my y values. Those are my range. So we're going to list them as my range. That's it. Now, you're going to have the same amount. So if I have 4 domain, you will have 4 range values. Okay? Let's look at one more. Let's look at 11. Okay, let's look at 11. Stop. Stop. Like, just, I don't know who it was, but just stop. Seriously. Okay, if I plug in a -4, that's my first value of my domain, so I plug that in where x is. Okay. Now, just be careful. I noticed a little bit of error on this on the homework when I was walking around. When I multiply, it's -1/2 times -4. What is -1/2 times -4? 2. Positive 2. Don't make it -2. That negative, that minus, we took with the 1/2. So a -1/2 times -4 is a positive 2, so it's a plus 2. So be careful on that. 7 plus 2 is 9. So that is the first value of my range. Okay, let's look at the next one. My next domain value is 0, so I plug 0 in for x. Negative a half times 0, 0, so I just have a 7 left. So I put that down with my list of my y values, or my range values. And then I plug in 6. Y equals 7 minus 1/2 times 6. Negative a half times 6, negative 3, so minus 3. 7 minus 3, 4. So that is the last value. So usually however many domains you have will be how many ranges you have. 3 and 3. Same idea. Any questions on that? Okay, pretty straightforward. So go ahead, finish the homework. You should be able to get finished. You guys